Thank you for joining us live with Miami's Community News. And I am here with Frank Calderon from the Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department. Thanks for being here, Frank.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
It's almost February 2026, right? The years have been flying by. We know that next month in March will be the celebration of the anniversary, not celebration, the anniversary of our big COVID disaster that was here, at least here in Miami-Dade. I don't know about other people, but it certainly was a shock for all of us. And I think there's a good time to look back and see all the changes that we went through, more importantly, what the kids were going through and that impact. And in 20 years from now, there'll be kids growing up and their parents will be telling them, yeah, we went around with masks on our face. We did what? Yep, everywhere. And places were closed and people would have metal or glass in between.
Barriers, yeah.
And you know what's at the bank? I don't know if they have that at banks anymore, but the glass, they would like...
That would be everywhere. The banks always, not always, but they've had it for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the supermarket everywhere. We used to have a glass here. And people up front, we had like shower curtains on the ceiling. And we had everybody, they came to work, they were about 20 feet apart throughout the building.
Social distancing.
Yes,
remember when that was a phrase?
6 feet at least. We had no COVID for a year and a half. And then the variant came in and marched through the building. So we were lucky. Okay, so let's talk about the differences between recycling and just the trash we have, and then the bulky waste and things like that. So let's talk about with recycling.
Sure. Recycling is just items that you take from your house that can be recycled in our program, and you just put it into the blue cart. Trying to remember off the top of my head now, I'm drawing a blank. Cardboard is a big item. Paper, which you can include like mail, so unused mail like advertising pieces and stuff like that. Postcards, glass and plastic bottles. We're also taking yogurt tubs and butter tubs, and we're also taking like those clear plastic to-go cups.
And come the fall, by the way, when the politicians are starting to run for office, there's those giant postcards. We all found a great place for them.
Those can be recycled.
Right in that blue container.
Yes.
Right. But yet they still persist on doing that. Recycling's it's a big business for the recyclers.
Yes.
And as mentioned before, maybe one day we'll get it back on our minds when the world sort of calms down a little bit. We'll start thinking of those positive steps. And I know that the county is working on doing a better job, with that. And if we could, let's talk about the waste energy, because that's sort of recycling. We give them certain types of garbage, they burn it, and we get energy out of that. Is there anything public that's been said as far as picking a partner to create that thing?
To my knowledge, I think they met last week about it, and I think they were still asking for the two companies that put in proposals initially back in, I want to say in December, that they're asking them to work together. And one of them is FPL, who obviously for sure has experience on the energy side, and the other company was an environmental company from Spain called FCC. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but yeah, that's the last I heard.
So pretty soon there's going to be somebody's going to get selected. It's one of the two of them.
Maybe the two together.
And somebody's going to pick a spot. I guess ultimately the county commission. And people will get an opportunity to go down and voice their opinion. We typically know what it is, right? Not in my backyard. All right. Nobody wants it in their backyard, but something's going to happen. And folks, be calm about it. It's going to take 8 to 10 years for it to be functional.
That's most likely, yeah. That's between the, getting it all the approvals done, and then, start breaking the ground, getting the permits, then start breaking the ground, the construction and all that, and then you test it, and then, before you can actually...
facility. I mean, as far as the number of acres it's going to take, this is going to be huge because the trucks have to go in there. A lot of trucks.
They have to have room for the trucks to come in. The trucks dump. We call it tipping in the industry, and yeah, whatever materials can be taken out that don't need to be don't need to go through the process. Metals are one, for example, that are taken out, and whatever else, whatever the final form takes, and whatever they decide to take out. Yeah.
So I had an experience the other day. We were doing we were repairing one of our fences, and it was a total wreck. We had to cut down a lot of small arekas and all that stuff. And we had a pile of trash that was probably about, I don't know, at least as much. And he says, what do you want me to do with it? I said, I know it's going to take a week or two to call the county. I said, you're going to take it away, and I'm going to pay you to take it away, please. And so it was a commercial carrier. So they can go to, they would go to the one in South Dade. That's where they told me they're going to go. And they filled up this truck. It was easy to do, just like if I would have had the time, because it would have been sitting on the grass for 2 weeks. And so commercial carriers, they have a special, they prepay for that, and they're allowed to take their landscaping material and dump that in the...
Landscapers are, yeah, because we have the 13 trash and recycling centers that are open to residents. But it's only open to residents. The one exception is landscapers that buy coupons in advance, set up an account with us, buy coupons in advance, and then they use a coupon every time they visit. And that's to give them some flexibility, because imagine if they have to go all the way to one of the landfills or one of the transfer stations to dump. Once they filled up their truck with landscaping material, they're going to spend some time there and then have to drive back and get the next customer. This saves them a little bit of time.
So for the homeowner, if somebody was out digging up some stuff in their yard and they had a great big, they had a lot of stuff. Is that in my ear? Oh, my phone's ringing from the other room.
Wow, you can hear it. Wow.
I can hear it. Like that's got
Bluetooth. Okay.
But as far as if somebody wanted to take construction material, a homeowner, they could take that to where?
You said the keyword homeowner. As long as it's a residential customer, they're allowed to take small amounts, 3 cubic yards. They can take it to one of the TRCs.
And if it's more than that, what do they do?
If it's more than that, that's a good question.
3 cubic yards, that's not very big.
They allow, well, the theory behind it is it's a homeowner doing a DIY project in their house. So the 3, it used to be 1 cubic yard. They expanded it to 3 to allow people to bring some material if they're doing a DIY
so what
project,
would people
basically.
Do?
That's a good question. Break it up into 2 trips.
Yeah,
break it up into 2 trips. Just if they see you coming a lot frequently on the same day with a lot of, then they're going to put 2 they're going to realize, no, this is a commercial operation. But if you have a little bit more than 3 cubic yards and you are indeed one of our customers and it's residential, so you have to come in a residential vehicle. It can't, well, there really isn't such a thing as you don't come in a commercial vehicle. Yep. I'll just say that, because they will turn you around. But so
the guy who's doing the work said, you can put it in your truck. Not in my truck. I'm not putting that stuff in the back of my never used, what do they call that back part?
The bed.
The bed.
Do you have a bed liner?
Yeah.
Okay, but you still want to...
Yeah. I want to turn it in where it's in good shape. My wife says, do you have a truck for that? I said, no. It's not for driving stuff around. It's for me sitting in the driveway at home.
That reminds me of that meme where this guy driving around a pickup truck, a picture of a guy driving around a pickup truck, and the passenger's holding a piece of lumber sticking out the back, and says, be nice to have a truck for to carry stuff like that around. You gotta look for it. It's a funny meme.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're sorry. That's the way we get. Okay. So back to recycling. Tell us some of the stuff that is absolutely no. Do not put it in the blue container. If you got to think about it, put it into the green ones.
Plastic bags, no. Hoses. We're Christmas is already kind of over, but for those who left the lights on a little bit long and want to get rid of them, they can go in the garbage, but they should not go in recycling.
And did you say hoses should not go?
Hoses should not go either. Those are what we call tanglers. They get tangled up in the equipment at the where the processing facility where they sort out all the recyclable materials.
Yeah, and they can, you can buy a cheap hose, or you can buy the real expensive ones, or you can buy the one that shrivels up. All right, leave that out in the sun in about 6 months. It's history. All right.
Yeah.
So now the question of the day: are there any open jobs in Miami-Dade County solid waste?
I think the ones that we have now are administrative. I'm not 100% sure. We don't have any driver jobs at the moment that we have open, or at least that are advertised currently. I did look, though. There are I want to say it's 3 positions, but I'm not 100% sure. For sure, 2 with parks that involve driving, that involve having a CDL. Basically, they call it automotive equipment operator, and if I'm not mistaken, it's like small dump trucks, and it's not huge vehicles, but they're looking for people with a CDL. I think maybe it was 2 that were like kind of like entry level ish, and 1 that was, so this is an opportunity. If you eventually want to come and work for us and drive the garbage trucks, you could potentially apply to this type of position with parks, for example, and then you've got your foot in the door once you get in with the county. Then when you see that there's a position open with us, you can apply to that.
So if somebody's looking for work, they could go to get an idea of what's available for throughout the county.
Yes,
right, on the different opportunities.
Not just our department. Correct. Miami-Dade.gov/jobs, JOBS.
Okay, and Priscilla is over there. She's our producer of the day. Recent college graduate, FIU. Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Yes. So Priscilla, thank you. She says, yes, okay. So there's this new word I've heard for the first time, biochar. What does that mean? Biochar.
Okay, so we have it's a little bit of history of this. A couple of months back in November, we had this program that we were part of that's called the Miami-Dade Innovation Authority, or it's with the Miami-Dade Innovation Authority, and it was to present grants, about $100,000 to companies or startups that have ideas for helping us reduce waste, and they do these challenges for different things having to do with county departments, different needs, and our big need was, what do we do about waste? So one of the winners has a program called biochar, basically, and what biochar does basically is it incineration, but it's not done open or filtered or whatever. It's done closed. It's kind of like roast pork cajina that Cubans do for Noche Buena. So it's enclosed. It uses a process called pyrolysis, which I want to say kind of like bakes it a little bit more than actually like burning it. And what you're left with, it looks kind of like charcoal. And it's good. It's a soil additive. I don't want to quite call it a fertilizer, but it provides nutrients to soil and to plants. It can also be used to clean dirty water up. It can be used for a lot of different useful, beneficial purposes. And basically, a lot of that is created out of vegetative waste, like the stuff from your yard and stuff like that. And they're doing a pilot basically with it. And I think in the next couple of weeks, we're looking to do like a public demo, have the media there, and show the world what it looks like.
So the end result that you were talking about, what the product turns into, you said like charcoal.
It looks like charcoal, yeah.
So we have a what do we call it? A composter, right?
Yes.
That turns it into, it looks like more threads, little chips, but it takes it and it decomposes it by whatever method, right? So at the end result with biochar, what do you do with that?
It can be used as a soil conditioner. It helps plants. It helps provide nutrients to plants in the soil. And one of the other things you can do with it is dirty water. It can be used to clean up dirty water. I don't know how that works. I've been told that that's one of the things you can do with it, but yeah.
Some folks were here the other day, and I see something with the worm farm or something. And I brought up to them, I said, what's it? And I just sort of guessed they have an agreement with the county. I don't know if it's a contract.
That might be with the, we do have
connected.
A group that, Fertile Earth Farms, I think, or I think that's an earthworm project, and they were one of the winners of the MDIA challenge.
So I think she said she was a biologist, and it was really neat to see the stuff that he-men are not familiar with, if you will. And I said, how does that work? She started telling me it's really pretty neat to see how we can get rid of a lot of our trash. And certainly we hope that in the next 50 years there's some stuff that we can get to closer to zero waste. But I know it's not going to be zero waste, but it's going to be a lot less. Tell us about the zero waste program, though.
Sure. Well, right now we have we're working on a zero waste master plan, and we're actually actively seeking input from residents. So we have a series of workshops going on. We have a virtual workshop going on. It's our next one. It's February 2nd. And then we have 2 in-person workshops, and we may schedule, if we see that people are interested, we may schedule more. These are opportunities for people to provide their, feedback and opinion. The 2 workshops, one of them is going to be at the Hialeah Library, and the other one's going to be at the Coral Gables Library, which that one I'll probably go to myself. And we have information on it on our website. You can go to either miamidade.gov/solid waste and scroll down and look for zero waste on there. Or if you're like me, you want to take the shortcut, miamidade.gov/zero waste. It's all one word, just zero waste, and boom, and it'll take you there.
So these 2 things, the biochar and the zero waste, are those new programs?
Yes.
So has there been more awareness about the county needs to do something, or has this been in the works for a long time?
I want to say some of these programs have been in the works. It's just the sense of urgency has been a little bit more after the facility, the waste energy facility, burned down a few years ago. But yeah, these are things that we've been looking at to some degree, even before that.
It's a great opportunity for private business to get involved with the county on such an important issue. So, and a lot of times people want to know when they go to the beaches and they see they're sort of dirty, or the canals on the side of the streets, and some of the streets seem to be cleaner or dirtier than others. So your department does certain roads in Miami-Dade County. If it's along the turnpike, the grass along the turnpike, that's a different department.
Well, actually, yeah, you're talking about public works, but on the turnpike, the turnpike has its own. I don't know if it's with the state, or if I don't know if it's FDOT or if it's like a quasi-independent agency, but it is affiliated with the state.
So I have a friend who lives between Miller and Sunset, 85th Avenue. So he's become the most recent pain in the butt for some people from the county, where he says they're arguing about who's supposed to take care of the road. And so some folks came out, and the ski-doo that was dumped out there, they just moved it. They didn't pick it up. And I said, call me with the address. I'm going to give it to somebody I know, and that'll be you. All right. So I'm going to have it, and then maybe you can forward it on.
Email it to me, right. And we'll look into it.
And it's important for the homeowners to take pictures of these things, because if you don't,
it helps. Well, report it right away for sure, because then if it's in front of your property, you won't get blamed for it. You can call 311 or report it immediately and say, hey, look, somebody dumped this right in front of my house. And then at that point, it'll also get routed to the enforcement officer for the area. They'll take a look, and it'll be gone faster if you do that, for sure.
Okay. And years ago, there seemed to be more of Santa Maria rituals going on the south end. Is that still as frequent as that, or is it sort of reduced?
I haven't heard any reports from our enforcement officers on that, and I have not personally seen it. I live close to the CSX railroad tracks, and I remember a few years back, you'd see a bag with flies all over it, and you knew what that was.
Take the spirit away.
But I haven't really noticed it as much lately, so maybe it's come down a bit. I don't know.
So, and speaking of that, so if there's dead animals on what appear to be on your property, or maybe in front of your house, what should people do?
Well, on the right of way, for sure, call 311. I believe Animal Services will come out and remove the dead animal from the public right of way. But yeah, call 311.
Okay. And again, I know we've discussed it before, but people ask, my cart's not working right, and they get confused about what to do. What's the simplest thing for them to do?
The simplest thing is to call 311, tell them my cart, the wheels are broken, they're not spinning, or the lid is broken, or the body is cracked or something, and they will come out, and we have a crew dedicated to just repairing or replacing carts. If they can repair it on the spot, maybe replace the lid, they'll do it. If if the cart's like beyond repair, they'll take it and they'll replace it. They'll provide a new cart. And what they'll do is, with the old one, they'll scavenge any parts that they can off of it to repair other carts.
That's what we used to do with our computers. Now they don't charge enough to do that. So let's touch a little bit as far as really the significance of the service that solid waste provides in picking up garbage. First of all, more or less, we have a town of over 3 million people, and there's around 900,000 residents. I don't know exactly what that means. That's a term that's used. I don't know if that includes apartment buildings and that. But one of the really good measures is how many garbage cans you guys have out, right? So more or less, how many is that?
How many garbage cans? I don't know for sure. I know that we serve about 340 to 350,000 households. And I remember seeing a few years back when the question came up, census numbers. At the time, I want to say that it was 2.6, according to the census, 2.6 persons per household. So you just multiply the 340 times 2, and that's how many customers. That's how many people, individuals that we serve as far as specifically picking up the garbage. And the number came close to, if I'm not mistaken, about between 900,000 and a million.
Yeah.
So that's about the number of people that we provide service to.
That is significant. And everybody, as far as service, they get that twice a week.
The garbage collection service, correct, twice a week.
That's amazing. All the way from Aventura, all the way south past Homestead a little bit.
Yeah. Pretty much. Homestead and Florida City do their own, but the unincorporated areas around there that aren't serviced by either one, that's us.
And those are the green cans. What's the difference down south, or anywhere, between the cities can and the county can?
It depends, because some of them actually do the service themselves. Like here, South Miami, I believe, has city employees that'll go and pick up the garbage. I don't know what the color their card is. I want to say it's brown or gray. I'm not 100% sure for the garbage. But then you go down like Florida City, I believe that Waste Management, the company Waste Management, picks up for them, and their carts are green with a yellow lid, if I'm not mistaken.
And so 300,000 plus twice a week.
Correct.
And these ladies and gentlemen that are driving those trucks, I'd love this number. How many stops do they do a day? Priscilla, if you haven't heard it, listen to this. How many stops a day?
Each truck, about 11 to 1,200 stops.
And they pick up 1 or 2 cans. That's typically it.
Yeah.
They do not pick up the blue cans. That's a completely different company.
Blue cans is recycling. Our contractors that do that.
And they do that on a different, it could be the same day,
schedule.
But
yeah.
And so it's twice a week for the garbage, and every other week for the recycling. So lots of garbage around town, and must have a lot of trucks out there doing that.
The fleet, the last time I asked about that, it was a few years back, and the number probably hasn't changed much. It was about 180.
All day long.
180 trucks.
How many miles those trucks are good for?
Oof. I don't know.
A lot.
There's, just the other day I was listening to a county meeting, and they have the lady that's in charge of procurement, the procurement department, Namida Upal, and she was talking, I believe it was her, and she was talking about vehicles, and they asked her, well, is there they hit so many miles and you replace them automatically? She said, no, if some of them are good and can last longer, but at some point it reaches a point where you're spending so much on maintenance that it's just not worth it, and then that's when we start looking at replacement.
And those are pretty pricey trucks a couple of years ago.
They can be. Yes. I think they're a few $100,000.
Yeah. Well, they have cars now for 300,000. Yeah, 90,000 is like a normal thing. I don't know.
Well, the difference though is that's if you want to buy the big fancy high end car, but you can still get a car for you can get a car as little as 30,000 roughly. But with garbage trucks, no, you're looking at a few $100,000. There's no substitute.
And a couple of years ago, we were delighted to, if you will, unveil at Katsukuba the new all-electric truck.
Yes.
I think it was beautiful, right? And the only noise it really makes is when it backs up. Dee, 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 dee.
Pretty much.
And the proud driver, I said, which one of you guys drive this? Guys go like this. Good for you. So hopefully, as things move forward with the county, they'll get more of those all battery trucks, if that's the angle. Years ago, when the waste management facility provided power to around 50,000 people, were those almost all in Homestead?
At some point we contracted with the city of Homestead to supply them with electrical power for their residents. So at that point, before that, it was actually sold. Before that, it was spot market. They didn't have a contract, but when they had a contract, which they had for a long time, and it ran out a few years before that, it was with Duke Energy, which is up near
the part that I don't get, you're creating power. How does that power? How do you get to only send it to a place? How does that work?
transmission lines, but I don't know the details. They transmitted through now the facility itself powered itself from the energy it produced, so it did that. In addition to which, there was extra power for like about 40,000 homes or so roughly, and which was about the size of Homestead. So that's why we contracted with them.
So I look forward to seeing if I'm going to get an electric vehicle. My biggest issue is fuel and how I would access that. So we have a blower to, annoy the neighbors, right? So, so I said, get one of these power blowers. I said, what if I run out of power? Stuff. And I had an internal conversation. If you ran out of gas, you would go get the gas and you would put the gasoline oil in there. Oh, so you buy two. The one that's in there and the one reserved. And we have one here. And it's really quite pleasurable. Makes maybe 20% of the noise, maybe.
You're talking about electrical. I just wonder, maybe instead of buying the two, you buy the batteries and just have one.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Two batteries.
Yeah, two batteries. Have one charge up, and then when the battery goes, you just put the other one in.
It's incredible how much progress it's been in, I guess, 10 years or something like that. And it's much quieter, right? And you can sort of control
That's good. So you can do it at 7 a.m. on a Saturday and not in the
Shh. And do not blow the leaves into your neighbor's yards.
And don't blow it in a storm drain. When we were merged with Public Works, that was an issue. Yeah.
Frank Calderon, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we appreciate it. Okay, let's look at the camera over there. First of all, folks, thank you for joining us. And second, remember the Disney rule, which is when you hug someone, don't stop until they do. Hey, kids. Bye.